The story of No Game, No Life, as the name of the series implies, follows gamers, in particular, the gamer blank, consisting of Sora and Shiro, who together make humanity's strongest gamer, but each in their own right are gamers as well. They enjoy playing games and are always up for a challenge. But throughout the story of No Game, No Life, in this world of Disboard, there are only a select few that are acknowledged by blank, by humanity's strongest gamer, as fellow gamers. It's a safe bet to say that everyone who lives in the world of Disboard has played games to some extent. That is how all conflicts are resolved within this world, thanks to the covenants that were put in place by Tet over 6,000 years ago. But just because they are forced to play games, just because games are a way of life for the people of Disboard, that does not necessarily make them gamers, at least not in the eyes of Sora and Shiro. And even beyond that, out of the characters that Sora and Shiro have directly come into contact with, as they are continuing their conquest of Disboard, challenging other races to games, and meeting the agent plenipotentiaries, the representatives of those races, even out of all of them, of the people that Sora and Shiro have fought against and fought alongside throughout the 12 volumes of No Game, No Life, there are only a few of them that Sora has directly acknowledged as fellow gamers. And we've met all three of these individuals as of the end of Volume 5. The three individuals acknowledged by Sora and Shiro as fellow gamers. Those are Izuna, the Shrine Maiden, and the Dampier Plum. These three have been given that honor of being a fellow gamer alongside Sora and Shiro. Not only worthy opponents, but people who are up to the same types of challenges as Sora and Shiro. But what exactly does it mean to be a gamer in Disboard? It isn't simply just being a representative of your race, as the Shrine Maiden and Plum are both the agent plenipotentiaries, the holder of the race pieces for their given races, but Izuna is an outlier. She's, 8 years old, and although she did fight on behalf of her race, she was a proxy for the Shrine Maiden. She did not actually hold the race piece, and in any game where the race piece would be bet, it is the Shrine Maiden that participates, as it was in the Sirens game, in the Dream Dating Sim. But Izuna was also there, and she continues to be there throughout the entire series. She truly is a gamer. But there is still something that unites these three. It's also not the enjoyment of games. Although Izuna discovered her enjoyment of games through playing with Sora and Shiro during the game of Love or Loved 2, that isn't exactly the qualification. The Shrine Maiden too seems to gain some enjoyment from games, but Plum, on the other hand, I don't think necessarily enjoys games, given that his entire race has been cursed by the Covenants due to everything that had been put in place. His race needs to feed upon other races, causing harm to them, and due to that, his race, upon the covenants being put into place, tried to seek out a symbiotic relationship and ended up under the foot of another race, essentially imprisoning them under the race of Siren to this day. So he's not very fond of the covenants, and probably not that fond of games in general, but a gamer he still is. And that is because, similar to the Shrine Maiden and Izuna, in the face of defeat, they do not give up. Their eyes burn with the thought that I will win next time. Next time, I will not lose. This is embodied by the conversation that happened between Izuna and Sora at the end of Love or Loved 2, and in the light novel, at the end of the extra game that was played after Love or Loved 2, where Sora and Izuna had a 1v1. Sora turned to Izuna and asked her how it felt to come across opponents that she cannot defeat. No matter how many times she tried or what strategies she implemented, she would never be able to defeat blank. That is the declaration that Sora put to Izuna. And Izuna's response was, I will win next time. It is that burning desire. When you go up against an insurmountable opponent in a game, to continue pushing forward, to have that fire burn within you to keep playing. That is what unites these three. Although the Shrine Maiden did initially give up on her dream, thinking that it was impossible to unite all of the races, she still had that fire burning within her. She still had the motivation to move forward, she just couldn't see the path to do so. A path that has been now shown to her by Sora and Shiro. Plum too understands how this world works, that the entire world of Disboard is a massive game. But Plum really is just looking out for himself and his own race at the end of the day. And even though Sora and Shiro did defeat him, even though they offered a draw, it was essentially a defeat, he still has the desire to push forward, and next time vows to get one over on Sora and Shiro. Plum is not giving up, the Shrine Maiden is not giving up, and Izuna, too, will continue playing games and will eventually, at least according to her, surpass Sora and Shiro, eventually winning against them. It is that desire to keep pushing forward, even if you lose in a game, to try again, to figure out new strategies and ways to overcome your opponent. That is what unites these three, as the innate gamers of No Game No Life, of the world of Disboard. These three, without the influence of Sora and Shiro, are gamers, and have been acknowledged as such by Sora and Shiro. Of course, Sora and Shiro did have some influence on them by letting Izuna know what it was she was actually feeling at the end of the game, by reigniting the dream that the Shrine Maiden once held, and by giving Plum the opportunity to put his strategies into place, even though Sora and Shiro were able to overcome all three of them in their own respective games. They, in and of themselves, were gamers before Sora and Shiro ever arrived in Disboard. But now that Sora and Shiro have arrived in Disboard, they are no longer the only gamers that currently exist, as Sora and Shiro's influence have certainly awakened gamer instincts in many others. In particular, two of their fellow Imanity, Clemmy and Stephanie Dola, both of whom would not be considered gamers prior to the events of No Game No Life. Even though both of them have played games before, and when the series started, both of them were competing against one another in a game to determine the next monarch of Elkia. Both of them had their own goals. Stephanie wanting to inherit the monarchy from her grandfather, and Clammy aiming for the betterment of Imanity, thinking that the only way Imanity could survive on Disboard was by becoming a vassal state of the elves, by needing the protection of a higher race. But thanks to Sora and Shiro, their influence on Clammy and Stephanie, from Sora gifting Clammy all of his past memories, and how her defeat has changed her perspective on not only Disboard, Sora and Shiro, but the world as a whole and what Imanity can accomplish, she has awakened as a truly threatening force. She, combined with her partner Feel, are probably one of the greatest opponents that Sora and Shiro will face in the future of No Game No Life. They continue to grow, continue to learn, and no matter how many times they lose, they are still pushing forward, reworking their strategies and trying to gain an advantage. In the light novel, Clammy challenges Feel to games over and over again, losing hundreds of times, but learning every single time. Writing notebooks, which she has dozens of by this point in time. Even though she has never been able to beat Feel one-on-one, not able to overcome magic, she hasn't given up trying to do so. She has seen that Sora and Shiro are capable of overcoming elven magic, and so she now realizes what Imanity's potential is, and she refuses to give up. Next time, she will win. And the same is true for Stephanie Dola, who often seems like a ditz in the No Game No Life series, as that is the running joke, as she is constantly called a Steph, but she is easily the third strongest gamer in Imanity, and it's not even close. Third being Steph, second being Clammy, and first being Blank. Though if we're going to break it down by individuals, then Steph would be fourth or fifth, depending on if you want to put her as Steph, then Clammy, then Sora, Shiro, depending on whether you want to put them second or third, and then Blank as the strongest gamer of Imanity. Steph has challenged Sora and Shiro to games many, countless times. And although she's lost every single time, She has grown as a gamer, and her skills are now incomparable to what they once were. Steph has learned with every single loss. Clammy has learned with every single loss. The same as Izuna, the Shrine Maiden, and Plum. And the same is also true for Sora and Shiro themselves. They have never lost except to each other. They continually grow and learn and have that desire to keep pushing forward even if they do lose. They will always challenge for that rematch. They will always have that burning desire to play again. This is what makes a gamer in the world of Disboard. It's not just taking up the challenge as is a necessary way of life, but it is taking up that challenge with the desire to play again. Of course, there should be some enjoyment, as games are meant to be fun, but it is this common characteristic that defines a gamer. Something that Jabril does not have, something that Ino does not have, and something that the many other characters that we get introduced to over the course of No Game No Life don't necessarily have in and of themselves. They have not yet been acknowledged by Sora and Shiro as fellow gamers. Of course, this is also up to some interpretation, as within the writing of No Game No Life, maybe it's not going to be explicitly stated at every point when Sora and Shiro acknowledge someone as gamers. They have gained many allies over their time in No Game No Life that we will be meeting as we cover the rest of No Game No Life on this channel, but I'll leave that up to you to decide which of them would you think are gamers alongside the characters mentioned in this video. And we will soon be discussing as well some of the very first gamers to exist in the world of Disboard, as this shared passion that all of the characters mentioned in this video have, that desire to win next time. That is one of the defining characteristics of Riku Dola in the Great War. That is what sparked the interest of the Ex Machina Shuvi, and ultimately led to the events that changed the world of Disboard forever, setting the stage for the gamers that followed. But interestingly enough, Riku was not the first gamer on Disboard. There is one that existed many years prior, or two, depending on how you looked at it, and that is something that we will eventually cover on the channel once we get to the Great War. So, if that's something that you're looking forward to, make sure to subscribe to the Daily Flugel, and let me know down in the comments below what you think about the different gamers in Disboard. Do you think that the criteria that I mentioned in this video is accurate, or do you think there's a bit more to it? And do you think that any of the other characters that we've encountered thus far would fit that criteria? Would also be fellow gamers alongside Blank? Whether they can win against Blank or not really the concern of this video, but whether you would consider them gamers in their own right. I'd probably also count Steph's grandfather among the gamers of Disboard, as, well, he had the burning desire to try again, to rework strategies, and instead of trying to win himself, he realized that he couldn't, and so left it for the future generations. So he would definitely be one that would be counted among gamers, and definitely one acknowledged by Sora and Shiro as well. But I look forward to hearing your thoughts. And with that being said, I'll see you all in the next video. Ashente.